Hello, everybody out on the internet and other human beings. How is everybody doing today?
Tired because I got in today.
And we got thumbs up.
Eating. Oh, that was good. I'm doing good. A little tired. I'm doing good.
That's good. I'm tired too.
Well, we got a lot to talk about.
I know.
Got something to talk about.
Oh, while we're waiting for TJ to get on, I got a little something to talk about if that's all right.
Okay.
Make it quick-ish.
Okay.
I had a chance to meet with a designer with the Fractal Basilisk Studios. They have a Kickstarter right now for a game called Zone Raiders.
Okay.
It's a skirmish game with miniatures. It's an open miniature system, meaning you can grab whatever miniatures you want to represent your team. There are 7 different factions that you can do, so you can get a lot of customization. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that's like me that buy into Kickstarters just for the miniatures, or we're at the shop and we see a shiny miniature that looks really cool and we buy it. We have no need for it in our army. We don't even know why we actually got it, just beyond it being cool. This game is going to be really perfect for all those miniatures. It is what Infinity should have been, if anybody's played Infinity out there. And I think probably what Kill Teams the route Kill Teams should have gone. The game lets you set up a team, and you get to purchase each team member. You get to purchase their own separate equipment, however you want. Not just weapons and armor, but actually equipment that they can have, like med packs and hacking computers and all that kind of stuff, grapple hooks. And you can get them skills and everything, and you can battle it out. They got multiple modes of play. They got campaign play, which the game is really centered around. And they've got, I lost my train of thought. They've got cooperative play. So if anybody's familiar with playing Blackstone Fortress, you'll know that you can, while you're playing the game either by yourself with up to 4 other people, you have basically an AI system to control the behaviors of the creatures running around the board. This game has that. So you and your buddy can run around, do a cooperative game. Then the next mode, you've got competitive play, which I know a lot of people like. They actually put the rules in that book. You don't have to wait for a supplement later on, which I think is a great selling point. And they also have tournament rules in there as well. Another one of those things that you would have to wait for with a lot of other games, waiting for an expansion or something to come out later on. You get it right off the bat. So really liked how they incorporated all that. Let's see here. Gameplay wise, this game uses D20s and D10s. And it's very intuitive. And it's really, I don't want to say simple as in easy. It's just easy to understand and play. You don't need to worry, do any cross-referencing charts like you do in some other games, like strength of the weapon versus their toughness or what their armor save is, all that kind of stuff. The game really keeps that simplified, but they have lots of nifty rules in there, like wall running, burst fire, point blank range, doing close combat, hacking. You can hack the environment. If, like, say whenever you're designing the scenario, there could be like turrets out there. And you get to a point where you could hack the turrets and use them against your opponent. So there's a lot going on with this game. And the reason why I'm doing kind of a quick thing here, because we got a lot to talk about with LVO. But I met these guys, like I said, at LVO, and the Kickstarter is going on right now, and it's about 7 days left. So I'm going to really recommend everybody go check out Zone Raiders, because this is a really easy game to get into. You just have to buy one book, and you're done. and just grab whatever miniatures you have. You don't have to worry about buying all this extra stuff because you already got the dice, you already got the miniatures. Now you just need the game. You're gonna have it in like PDF and hardback. So I'd really super recommend that you guys get a hold of this, because this is definitely one of those games that, if you like games that have like dynamic movement, like wall running, like some Assassin's Creed type stuff, you want to wall run and get up on top of a ledge and kick a sniper off to the ground, you could do it in this
I
game.
want to do that.
I want to do that too.
I want to Assassin's Creed somebody.
I can already do that, so I'm good.
Well, for those of us that are incapable of doing that, Ski, we've got this game. But I'll tell you, man, looking at all the different factions, I got 7 factions right now. One of their next goals, stretch goals, is to get 4 more factions added on. And the factions right now are, man, they're freaking amazing. Everybody's got their own feel to it, their own special abilities or faction abilities. And they have these things called faction doctrines. They're like upgrades that you can get, especially in campaign play, to really almost like chapter tactics, but you can get multiple types. And there's hundreds of different pieces, weapons, armor, equipment that you can get. Especially everybody's got their own like faction equipment, and then there's a huge table of other equipment, including artifacts and these things called vectors. Are you guys familiar with Infinity?
A little bit.
Yeah, you know those big robot suits they got, the tags? They've got this thing in here called vectors, and that's the best way I could associate it. So everybody can get access to a vector, and you can deck those vectors out with different equipment and different weapons. So you're not stuck with this, scout with a rifle every time. This very dry, kind of bland army with not a lot of feel to it. Now you can.
Yeah.
So I really recommend everybody check out Zone Raiders. I've got it up on the FNP Wargamers Facebook page. Follow the link. Check out the Kickstarter. I read this book on the way back for about 22 hours, and I'm super stoked about this. I want to run this at the store like right away.
You got a shout out there, John, from Matthew White.
Oh yeah.
He says, "Hey John, it's Matt from Friendly. Love playing you and your army." Wow.
Thanks, Matt. Matt's the one that creamed me at LVO. Is the only loss that I had.
Was that the Dark Elder army I saw?
No, it was the Matt's the one that creamed me at LVO. Sorry. That it was his buddy that was the last one I played, was the Dark Eldar player.
That's what I just said. Was it the Dark Elder army?
No. Matt is the guy I played first with the orcs. The pictures that I put up, you saw were
the one I rolled up and I filmed a little bit. You were playing against a Dark Eldar army that had a crap ton of venoms.
Oh yeah.
But Matt's the guy that did the wall.
No. Matt, no. The guy right now, Matt is a friend of the guy that I played that had the Dark Eldar.
Well, no, I'm talking about the orcs.
Yeah, Matt or Matthew is the one that had the orcs that I played.
Yeah.
Way before you came around, Jonathan.
Yeah, it was game 1.
Yeah.
Because game 1, the guy that he did the big wall, and everybody kind of like stopped.
Yeah.
And then Clint's like, I should have walled.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was getting ready to videotape you.
Yeah, Clint was very upset about that. He was like, you should have won. I think Clint was wrapped up in the glamour of being in Vegas and being at LVO and everything. I know he was super excited and he was containing himself, but whenever we were out getting something to eat and drink, he was definitely super excited about being there. So,
but the best part though too is looking at his army, and when we were pulling all the stuff out for displays, and we're like, look at that friendly list, and you look at Clint's like, that's not so friendly.
No, that's not true. I mean, his list was friendly. I saw a couple lists there that are a little questionable, that were there was a couple of them that were kind of reflected.
A couple?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want to say about 3 armies that I would say should have been down in the championship.
There was a majority of armies that should have been down at the championship. I saw a lot of those armies, and all right, I don't want to sound pessimistic,
No, it's okay.
but so Ben was playing against some guy that had like 7 or 8 flyers.
Well, that's one of the guys that I was talking about that definitely had a list.
That guy, I left because I got so aggravated because he was kind of being a little chintzy on his movement, and I didn't really say anything because I'm just a spectator.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ben could say something, but I got irritated and I left because not only his list that was friendly, he was kind of not being a cool person.
I got that from a couple other people that played him before and after. Actually, I think the guy that Clint played in the last round with his orcs, he played him earlier. And actually, the only time I saw the judge being called over was for that table against that guy, which is unfortunate that he was doing some jinky stuff.
Apparently, he's a car salesman.
Oh.
Nothing against car salesmen, but I don't,
I'm sure there's some sort of joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I left, and because of that person and some of the few other armies, which I'm sure they were cool, I was going to play their friendlies next year to cover it. But next year I'm going to cover the narrative.
Yeah, I see Will Wilson's on here. I met him. He was one of the first people that stopped me and recognized me from the show. I was looking at those guys at the narrative game, and that looked like, man, that looked a lot of fun. And I mean, even Clint and I were like regretting doing the friendly tournament.
Every freaking time I go to a tournament, I always see the narrative, and I always go, I should have played in the narrative because I work so hard on my army to be beautiful, and I can't stand to play against an army that's been dry brushed and, to the 3 minimum and just a terrible base. And they spend so much time on the terrain. They spend so much time on it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
You can always come
and
over.
I should cover it so we can have all aspects from our coverage for LVO. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
well, I'll tell you. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, Age of Sigmar has really gorgeous models that people paint, and they're mostly all different. So you can always come to the light side.
I'm 10 armies deep into 40K, bro.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Well, let me tell you about a little bit about the friendly tournament since we're waiting for TJ to get up because I didn't have a chance to come down to take a look at the championship. Everybody I played against, every game was a fantastic game. I have no complaints. Even losing to Matthew, it was a fun time. We had a gentleman's agreement. I think on turn 1 we both said, hey, let's have our warlords fight each other. We made an agreement to not shoot each other or attack our warlords just so we can get into close combat and have a massive dramatic battle. And it was really awesome. And when we shook hands on it, we had a good time. He still stomped me. I got his warlord, but he still stomped me. My other games were against some really good players. Everything just kind of worked out well for me. And I played, like we were talking about, I played Matt's friend. I can't think of his name. Right, Tim, I think, with the Dark Eldar at the end. And even looking at that list, I was a little worried. We ended up tying, but it was a little harrowing. I've never played Dark Eldar ever.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I knew they could do all the shenanigans from reading, watching the team chats and everything, but man, being at the basically ground level and having to face that was a little. That was rough. That was rough. But looking at everybody's armies, one thing about the friendly tournament, I know we're talking about some of those lists. The only requirement for the friendly tournament was that it be 100 power level. That
Yeah.
was it. So I mean, there was no comp score. There was no.
I feel it wasn't there more control last year where it was a little bit more restrictive. I feel.
No, last year there was a guy that had 4, or I want to say, well, I'll lower it. Let's say 3 to 5 flyrants, and tons of zone throws and hive guard. And I know there was a night list last year. There was a guy that had a whole bunch of Forge World tanks, like Sakarans. So I don't think it's not necessarily friendly. I think it's just more of a show off a really pretty army, have a backstory, and sit back and relax and don't deal with the stress of the championship. So
I don't know.
now,
Ben said he was still stressed out. So
really, I mean, I was stressed out against the Dark Eldar, but well, it's too bad. I'm sorry. I feel bad that he had a bad time with that.
yeah, I think it always depends on your opponent too. So I think that's maybe why he had a bad time. But like I said, I personally I quit. Sitting there because I was just like, man, I can't do this. It's supposed to be friendly. This guy's not even being remotely friendly. And I just, I was pretty much just like, all right, well, that ruined it for me. And I was just like, I'm just going to do the narrative.
Yeah.
Totally going to do the narrative.
Well, when I was talking to Will on the first day, Clint and I was down there talking to them. All the armies, I mean, everything looked like almost like the same thing we had up in the friendly. But the way that they had, I kind of like the way that they were playing the game. Everybody was joining a household, and it almost looked, and Will can probably correct me on this, but looked like you could end up with an orc teammate if I could be Adeptus Custos in the household, and Clint could be in the same household, and we might end up partnering up by for randomly. But it still looked fun. Like Dallas Open's coming up in April 12th, 13th, 11th, 12th, 13th, or something like that. The narrative guys that are always out at War Games Con are going to be there. So I want to go out and do the friendly at Dallas Open.
Yeah, we got to get a schedule of all the 4 tournaments coming around because we got a lot of things to start coordinating with tickets and t-shirts and other things. So.
Oh yeah, Will just said any faction was welcome into any household, so you could have some really crazy matchups. I mean, it could be my Adeptus Custos and somebody's Tau army against, say, Clint's Orcs and Tyranids. So it's I think narrative would have been the way to go. But we'll see. We'll see. I still had fun with the friendly. I like the the competitive nature was still there, but compared to the championship last year to the friendly tournament this year, it was way more laid back, a lot more relaxing, and I was very glad to play it. I will consider going again, but right now the narrative has got me hooked, and I might end up being a TO out there next year, so I might not even get to play.
Nice.
I'm right
we'll see. Not TO, a judge. Yeah, Ski and I talked to Reese about that. We're going to get our information hopefully in the next 2 weeks and be judges. That'll be awesome.
That's a big deal. That's actually a very big deal.
Yeah.
So
trying to get the FNP name out there.
It was really cool to see everybody out there, people who recognized us, and I heard some people like whispering they didn't want to come say hi. Like, yeah, I think it's FNP guys. So, and then me and Ski got in line, and just out of nowhere, Ski's like, "Oh no, sorry, I didn't know you're waiting in line." And the guy was like, "No, it's cool. I love you guys' stuff." So
nice.
I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Awesome.
So, but big shout out to Ski, by the way. He's being all quiet, but Ski ran around everywhere. He got us monsters, he got us drinks, he got us food. He filmed probably half of the footage. you know, he was everywhere. Ski was everywhere and MVP behind the camera,
Mhm.
and hooked us all up. So thanks, Ski.
No problem, man. Hey, I still got the video from the panel on my phone that I need to give it to you.
Okay.
And then I need you to make sure we get the recording for one of our Houston ALS players that did very, very well.
Yep.
And I'll talk about that later too. So, but yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have different segments. We're gonna do the friendly. We're gonna do the champions. We're gonna do the AOS. We're gonna do so we got also 2 interviews that we're editing now. We got tabletop tactics. We did the interview in our room with those guys, and then we also did an interview with Andy Wardle, like 13 Golden Demon holder and amazing painter. He ran some classes out there, and his group Cult of Paint is actually coming out to Houston to do a painting class as well. It was great to actually pal around with him for a little bit and pick his brain about painting. And it's funny is TJ mentioned that the stuff that he just has on his phone of pictures he took is sometimes even better than what he's posting on Instagram that has like 72,000 followers on Instagram. And he's a really good dude, really down to earth. It was fun to hang out with him. Got to do an interview with him too. So we're excited to get all that footage put up from this whole trip.
And then I did an interview with Creature Caster.
Oh yes.
So that I think that's on there too.
Awesome. Yeah, we got some very Clint, Ski, and myself got some really good painting tips. I don't know about how much Ski and Clint had actually learned, but there's a few techniques that I've always been trying to wrap my brain around. And basically what they showed me was best way to do it, let's say that they are painting from right to left, and I was painting left to right. Well, the proper technique is right to left. That's a very basic example, but it was just kind of like eye-opening. It's like, I can't believe I missed this very simple steps for painting, and now I really do want to get back to painting. I just need to kind of let my brain settle from all the miniature related stuff.
I'll be right back.
Okay, but I'll tell you though, I am thinking about a way to probably do a friendly tournament a little differently. I don't know exactly how yet, but we still had a good time. It was still a relaxed environment, even if there was a couple people. You're always going to find it. Like Will said, that there was a couple people that were little compish lists that should have been over in the championship probably. It's going to happen. And I think I mentioned that before on an episode where there's always going to be those people that are great at local tournaments, local GTs, but they're not at the level of, say, a major like Warzone Houston or the Alamo or Nova Open or even LVO. They're not at that level of competitiveness, so they're going to go for an easier route.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a jerk thing to do.
Clubbing a baby seal.
Right, clubbing a baby seal. And there's no way around it unless they go in and do a really hardcore comp system. And then you run into other problems with the comp system. For a few years, Alan and I batted around back and forth some comp ideas. And it just got so convoluted that we just never went with it. So you're really stuck unless you do something like monofaction only.
It's true, because I went to a local tournament before Atomic opened, and there was a comp system. There was a whole like, oh, you can't bring this, very restrictive. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool. But then I was at the top table against an opponent who his list was like 4 flying discs of Zinch, the Lord of Change, who's the Lord of Change, the character one?
Fate
K-Rock.
Yeah.
Fate Weaver.
Magnus, and pretty much he had like 8-9 drops, and they were all HQs and or Lord of Wars. And I was like, how did this get through?
Wow.
And that was just one of the things where, he got through and he whooped me. He actually whooped me so bad that I was on the top table, but my points had dropped so bad, I actually got bumped to like 4th place. So
Kairos.
It was rough. So
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Fate Weaver. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Just calls him Fate Weaver. Yeah, it was a Fate Weaver, and it was rough, man. Oh, and he had all these other summoning things that
Test.
like buffed everybody else. Yeah, I can hear you, Ski.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. But geez, it was just one of those things, and then that goes along the lines with what you said. They tried hard to have a comp system, but some people fell through the cracks,
Yeah.
and then someone feels burned when they did what they were supposed to do, and build a list that is not super competitive, but still competitive enough to hang, and so, but this one was a little much, so didn't have an issue with that, and that especially something at LVO that big, you don't want to have that problem.
Right, and that the one comp system that Alan and I had looked at that was really good. It really put a lot of balance in it. The issue with it is it was going to be complicated to settle your army or to build your army. And we were going to run into lots of problems where people were not going to figure the math out right, because point this or point that or 1.0, or it just got really ridiculous. I mean, the math all panned out. It made a very good, I think, balanced approach, but you are dealing with way too much way overcomplicated than it needed to be. So I kind of like the 100 power level game. I think something that they might consider doing next year is 100 power level mono codex.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, I think that might end up hurting a few armies. It might help a few armies that lag, but if the system's designed for, supposed to be friendly, then we really need to go to approach. You don't need the loyal 32. You don't need to bring just a few black, was it the Black Cabal or Black Heart Cabal or whatever for Agents of Vect.
It's like think outside the box.
Yeah, and no Forge World, or even if you do bring Forge World, as long as it's the same army. So if you're getting Astra Militarum, then you can add that to an Astra Militarum Codex. That's fine. But I think mono Codex should probably be it for next year. But we'll see. Who knows? What if they make me the judge and TO for their friendly, which would be awesome. Then I'll just hatch my master plan. Yeah. Clint just said most of the orc lists were like 300 points or more than most armies, which, yeah, that's true. Like my original list was 1850, and then I got it up to 1930. But there was a couple lists there that, like some of the guard lists, I know were well over 2,000 points, but it's 100 power level.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the prize support was good. Lots of plaques. Even I got best faction, though they forgot to print off best faction for Adeptus Custodes. But they gave me a plaque for the best Imperial Agent player, so I'll take it. But it was a good event. Wish I would have won one of the bigger plaques.
So Joyce, she or he, can't tell by the picture. They said that they ran into the same problem. They're kind of salty because someone, he basically got told that they weren't allowed to bring a list, and that somebody else brought the same exact list, and they were really salty about it. And then Sharon actually just said, Sharonin said that a hiccup that immediately comes to mind is Atomic, because they can take the knights besides Armigers and Dominus class. And they have these things that whoop my butt, are these forge roll drills.
Oh gosh.
Admit,
The assault drills.
God, yeah, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Strength 16. They're wounding my knights on 2s.
Yeah.
That one I lost. So I didn't give my score. I did 3, 2, and 1. I won 3, lost 2, and tied 1. The one I lost was my last game. You had 3 drills come up.
Ugh.
Plasma dudes just popping on out. These Qatari guys are plasma. And he unloaded all of the knights. And then the drills have D3 like melta shots.
Yep.
And they're already 9 inches away, you know. And then he assaulted with the drills, which are, I don't know, they get like 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 16, minus like 5 or 6. And I think they were like 2 or 3 damage a piece. I'm probably going a little over the top, but it was a lot. It might have been 4 damage a piece. I don't know.
Wow.
It was rough.
It's one of those models that got overlooked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Somebody.
It's just a drop pod essentially, and it's a drop pod with big old teeth on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think in the championship, or it might have been up in the friendly, somebody had 2 of their smash captains deleted just by 1 drill. And, yeah, I mean, I was like, I stood shocked. I never thought about their close combat capabilities. I just thought, oh, it's a drill, goes on the ground, pops up, people come out and shoot or do close combat. I never thought about the big drill killing somebody.
Dude.
And
okay, so like that too, like I wasn't expecting it. So his army was on the board, right? He had 2 not manticores, but what's the mortar shot one, the strength 9?
Wyvern?
Yeah.
No, man.
No. The one that looks like a big artillery cannon.
Basilisk?
Yeah, Basilisk. He had 2 Basilisks, 2 Lehman Russes with battle cannons because he accidentally meant to put Punishers. Long story. And then he had 2 plasma cannons on the side and a heavy bolter on the front. And so I was mopping up that army. You know, he had I think a total of 5 or 6 mortar teams. And I mopped all that up. I killed the 2 wyverns or basilisks, and I killed those. And I was like, cool, I'm in a good spot. Just kind of wrecked over half his army, damaged Lehman Russ. You know, I'm doing okay. And then these 3 drills come up and was like, oh, that night, delete it. That night, delete it. Oh, I'm going to leave that one alive just so you feel like you might be able to do anything. And then, delete it. So,
oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow. I was just like, oh, okay, that's you're and he kept bragging that they're only 160 points. And you know, that's it. They're only 160 points and blah blah blah. Like I mowed off all those Qatari guys that came out. And I failed my charges because I can only move like 4 inches or 6 inches because I was so degraded. And then yeah, man, it was rough.
Speaking of rough, I just thought about this. That flyer, the Astra Militarum flyer list that was up at the friendly. There was almost an exact copy down in the championship. I'm pretty sure it was the guy that beat Nick Navanti. That guy. Almost the exact same list that beat him and his orc list. I think that's who it was that beat him. I think the guy that with that admit or the flyer list got to, I want to say top 16. It might have been the top 8. Wow. But that's almost the exact same list.
As the flyer guy?
No. Well, it's almost the exact same list that the flyer guy up in friendly had.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh yeah, almost.
Because 2 flyers had 2 Punisher cannons.
Yeah,
I was running Pask with 1 Punisher cannon, and he was specifically there for orcs.
Yeah,
and I was just like, well, this is my only. I mean, I had Gatling cannons because I had Crusaders, but you know, a Punisher just gets you by attrition.
Yeah, because
And
40
I can't imagine that on a mobile device like a flyer. So you don't have to move a tank up, with 24-inch range. You got a flyer with a lot of range, and you have 4 of them in total.
Mm-hmm.
It's much. It's too much.
Yeah. I'll see if I can pull up that list whenever we're talking. But yeah, 40 Punisher cannons per vulture. That's a lot of shooting that you have to put up with. A little excessive, in my opinion. Yeah, the guy had like 8 flyers, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
He had like 3 Valkyries, I don't know, 3 Vendettas, and 2 of the what are the Forge-Rolled? I have one.
Avenger.
No.
Thank you.
Was it Avenger or Thunderbolts?
No, he had 2 Avengers.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had 2 Avengers, and then I forgot what he took all the Punisher cannons on, but anyway, it was a bit much. I actually felt very bad for Ben. Like, he was in a bad situation, and the guy was being really chintzy. Like, he was moving the building, and then I guess if they have graph shoots, you don't have to take a dangerous terrain check anymore. You just deploy out. That's what he said. That's one thing I opened my mouth. I was like, I said it kind of friendly. I was like, oh, they don't have to take checks anymore with graph shoots. Because it used to be if you move, and you say where you want to go, you can go there, but in your roll of a 1, your dude died.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, I don't know anymore. I haven't played anything like that in a long time, so I don't.
Oh yeah, his army was very end of 7th edition. I remember.
Oh, here's the list. I'm not sure what place this guy got, but this is very similar to the list that Ben faced. This guy had 2 Marauder, the list that beat Nick, 2 Marauder destroyers. Those are Lords of War. This guy had a Shadow Sword instead, also, and 3 Vulture gunships, and then a crap ton of Elysians with plasma.
Yeah, that's what he had. It was Elysiums and plasma.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that list is very good. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of flyer spam in the very near future, especially with Gene Stealer cults popping up now.
Yeah.
Pun intended. And with the Kraken army for Tyranids kind of getting a little bit of a little bit more attention, I think we're going to see that a little bit more often. More flyers. And some of the top Houston players are already talking about including 3-4 flyers.
Yeah, I mean they might be making a comeback. I thought Smash Captains would have scared some flyers. So I asked Ben. I was like, "Didn't your Smash Captains like jump up there and smash them?" And he said he got 2 flyers, but he said basically what happened was, he hit one, consolidated into the other one. It just flew away, but pooped out all these troops that just like melted him in the face, like a bunch of meltas, let alone all the other flyers around him that could shoot him. So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, all you need is get 1 melta through on a Smash Captain, and very likely going to delete them. And if it's the elite troops I'm thinking of, they're probably the 4 special weapon squads, and then probably a sergeant with a plasma pistol. So
I didn't stay that long. I was just like, all right.
I think I made Jimmy mad because I was using my Adeptus Custode bikes as a sacrificial unit.
You made him mad a couple times. He came over and even talked to me about some of your decisions. He said you had a bunch of I don't know if they were grots or racks that were Dark Elder Army that were conga lined around. And he made like a, I don't know, 8-inch charge or 5-inch charge or something. And he said you just started grabbing his models and pull them all in, but maybe 2 or 3 guys actually would have got to hit you. And
I disagree. I disagreed with him on it.
with who? Jimmy?
With Jimmy, yeah. I mean, the guy had plenty of room to wrap them around, and he had to wait till the next turn to get everybody into base contact. But
oh, don't let me forget. Finish your story. I have one of the most chintziest moments. I'll tell you.
Okay. But yeah, I made Jimmy mad by like you said, he thought I gave the guy way too much extra room. But at the end of the day, the idea for those bikes, it did exactly what I needed to do. I did not want those racks to get into my lines because even though I'm playing Adeptus Custodes, all those mortal wound attacks, because that they do with the glove, go with the venom glove or whatever on a 6, they cause mortal wounds. And I'd rather sacrifice that unit and pull his racks away, which it did. And then I got another group in the backfield, and I kept him busy, kept those racks away from my people. And that was the goal. So, and that one bike held on for like another 2 turns.
Fun fact, that list you played, also you saying friendly, was very similar to Lawrence's list. We even talked about it when we were at dinner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that list had a lot of elements that were definitely more the competitive side. Oh, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think a total like 12 blasters in the list, 4 or 5 venoms, a couple archons with shadow fields, but that poor guy, the shadow fields. I think he really hates the little misericordias that custodes have, because every time I'd start, I ran up to him, stab him with the misericordia. He would fail his shadow field save on the first go, and then I would kill the guy. And then I go to the next archon, pop the shadow field with a dagger, kill the guy. A lot of rinse and repeat. But I mean, we got a tie. We had fun, and my army did what I wanted to do.
That's good. It's good you got a tie against that because it was a very competitive list. Well, I'm glad the guy was cool because he seemed kind of cool when I walked up table. So
yeah, he was definitely cool. And I almost won until he got bad draws in the beginning, and I got fantastic draws in the beginning for the Maelstrom of War cards. And then it was a flip flop in the last turn, last 2 turns. He got all the good cards. I got no cards that I could complete, and I just kind of petered out.
Okay, so my very first game that I got chintzied out. Are you ready? So a dude brought pretty much Gilliman with a Wolf Lord, maybe. He had the Belt of Russ. That's all I know. And pretty much all these other characters, like Salamander character, I don't know, like a big soup of characters.
Yeah.
Right. And so I said, all right. So I charged my Valiant into them, which is the Castellan's opposite. And because I really had no other choice. So I charged them into it. And I made my charge as such that I had an extra 5 inches to diddle in where I wanted. So I did a direct charge. I was only like 4 inches away, right? I did like a 9-inch charge. I move up and I go to touch. He had who is the Ultramarine librarian? Stig
Tigerius.
Tigerius, thank you.
Right? Right, Tigerius?
Yeah, it's Tigerius. And everyone calls him like Tig. Anyway, Tigerius was one of the guys I multi-assaulted. He was one of the ones I wanted to hit. And so I moved my models, and you know how ornate and decorative my models are, right?
Yes.
So I moved them in, and I didn't want, because I had stuff dangling down, and it was the opposite side. I don't want to hit his Targaryen model with my stuff. But I was like, all right, then I'm in contact. And so he goes, all right, I'm piling. And instead of doing a piling right, he's like, well, you didn't base me. So he piled in like to the side, and he intervened with the belt of rust guy, putting him in base contact with me, making me attack last. So I I was like, dude, I didn't base it because I didn't want to hit your model. He's like, oh man, it's too late now. I was like, really, bro? Like, I
Wow.
was trying to protect your painted model from me smashing my knight into it, and you're going to utilize that as your benefit. You know what I mean? Like, I was taken back. I was actually kind of irritated. I was like, oh, that's how it's going to be, and it ruined it for me because I've known this guy. I've met him the previous two LVOs, right?
Mhm.
Seems like a cool guy. Everybody's like, oh, super cool, and apparently he hangs out with like the Nick Navanti crew or whatever. So he's apparent. I didn't know this. I just thought he was just a fun guy, whatever. And it ruined that impression for me after playing him because there was more things like that.
Mm.
And there was things of like I kept track of everybody's command points. Added when he would only get one back. I had to remind him you can only get one back a turn. He's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, it's FAQ. You only get one. It was a beta rule. That's actually, I think, a rule now. So it was like, oh, I had to remind him, a competitive player, and then like he had kind of said there was more command points than there were. I didn't push it because I don't call a judge. I didn't get too argumentative, and it was only by one. And he was like, "No, I have one." I was like, I have zero here, man." He's like, "Oh, I gained one." I was like, "I have that here too." Because I wrote it down the whole time.
Mm.
Because there were points he was playing so quick, he was like, "Oh, I'm just command point with that." No, I'll write it down. And because he'd say it so quickly, he didn't write it down. And then he was like, "Oh, well, I have these points." And I was like, "You don't." But I'm not going to press it. And he's already winning, so I wasn't going to just make a dick of myself. So I just let it roll. But that put a bad taste in my mouth, man.
Mm.
That was, and it ruined it because I was like, man, this guy's great. Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy outside of the game. But once you play someone and they're like, oh, that's how you are. You know what I mean? So
Well,
That's right.
there's a guy in AOS that I was watching. And he has a custom dryer waste board that keeps track of like some missions have you score so many wounds, you get a point or stuff like that, and command points and everything score for per turn, and it's on the table. Boom, and he just goes bloop bloop, and he interacts, and it was nice.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Paradox said it. He said it's why you shouldn't be so passive. It's true, man. I go to have a good time, and I respect the guy had a beautifully painted army, and I respect painted miniatures. Where like if I touch him with something, I apologize. You know what I mean? Like, and I just didn't want to jam my model into it. Like, of course I'm basing it, man. I'm going to base it. And he was just like, oh. And Mordak said, yeah, you give him an inch, they take a mile. And that's literally what the dude did because he turned my knight, who was going to be attacking first, to attacking last with the belt of rust. So it was just, it was a tough pill to swallow.
Well, and you can't. You have to make a decision too, though, because at these big GTs, one, it's already really loud, and if you're in the back tables, it's hard to get a judge over sometimes. But then, do you go that far? Because I hate to say it, it seems kind of when people start getting judges, everybody else starts judging because someone got a judge, and then it makes this big old bad taste throughout the whole convention, and then you're like being whispered underneath people's breaths, "Oh, that guy called a judge," and you have to really pick your battles,
Well, I agree. You have to pick your battles, but I mean, you just paid a lot of money to play in the top tournament, and whether you're there to have fun or not, still calling for a judge should not be some sort of scarlet letter type thing that you're going to carry around with you. You should be able to fully be able to call a judge over. They even address that in that player code of conduct.
Yep.
You can call a judge without any worries, just to get some rules resolution and not worry about it. This is what I'm worried about with the state of the game. With us moving more towards that sport type thing.
Man.
Are are we going to be encountering this type of behavior more in the future for especially these big events like LVO, Adepticon, and Nova Open and Warzone?
Yeah, Warzone is. But so Age of Sigmar, there was one that I heard of that happened, and I don't really see it as piddly, but I see it kind of odd, just the way the people are in AOS, right? And so this guy made I don't remember the range that he was doing something. I was told this by a group of the Canadian guys I met down there. They were talking to me about, was it day 3, about how this guy did something at 18 inches and he got everything up and ready. And this guy pulls out something, some kind of measuring device, and it was 17.8 was the distance instead of 18. And so they called the judge over, and the judge looks at it and he's like, nothing you can do. I mean, 0.2 for making, that whatever is kind of, it's not very big, not very long, So most people would be like, cool, it's close enough. Like, but he was right at least, but at the same time, it was kind of petty.
Well, I want to point out, Mordek said, "Don't feel ashamed to use your resources." It wasn't any point of a shame. There was just no point, and I just didn't want to ruffle any feathers at that point because the game was pretty much decided. Our knights were falling. They were just starting to crumble down through all his, Gilliman. Man, I will tell you, the fun part of that was Gilliman got gunned down by Pask. Dude, and Gilliman got down, and actually that's where the argument came from. Was Gilliman got back up, and he rolled a d3, and he got 1 point or 1 wound back, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to command point," and that's where I said, "You don't have any command points." He's like, "No, I got 1. I gained 1," and he rolled it and got 5 wounds back, which kind of did make a little difference because we were still playing, and Gilliman was way tougher because I knocked 2 more wounds off of him, which could have killed him again. But
I got 2 things about that. Well, first, I played against a guy with the Gilliman, and I Kool-Aid man some through the wall to stop him from overwatching, and then I deep struck in some Aloris Custodian Terminators and took him out. Lots of axes. I cut him down. That guy couldn't get back up. He tried command point re-rolling that. Didn't work. I felt a little bad because he was doing his best to get Gilliman up there. He painted him, customized it, everything, and in one turn, I just demolished him. But about bad players, Clint, even up there when we were playing at the friendly, Clint, his last game was against another orc player, and Clint got slow played. We had 4-hour rounds. We had 4 hours to play our games, and Clint was slow played to a 3-round game by the guy that got top orc player. And this is the guy that was also that called the judge over a couple times against that at the flyer player. But yeah, Clint was looking at me, and they barely finished turn 3. They had to speed through it because they were running out of
Sorry.
4 freaking hours.
And Clint had movement trays too, though. So that's that's the best part.
Clint is a fast player with his orcs, especially once he got those movement trays. Man, his game sped up faster, and I have no idea. And Clint looked like he outnumbered the guy miniature wise. I mean, Clint had like 160 some odd models, and Clint was finishing his games. So the guy was slow playing him basically for the win.
Do you get an award for that? I mean, a 4-hour slow play, that's impressive. Like, you can only stall for so long.
Yeah. Whether it was intentional or not, I mean, I would say my opinion is it was intentional because the guy was up for at least the best orc player, and then probably I think he got one of the awards. Clint can correct me. I want to say he got one of the Renaissance Man, which is like the best overall. It was pretty disgusting behavior.
Yeah, what I said, how do you slow play them so badly? 4 hours? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Clint will have to type it in because I was too busy trying to not get my ass handed to me from those Dark Eldar.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny? I went up there and everybody was so into the game. And I was just like, all right, well, I'll just film some stuff and leave.
Oh, yeah,
You
when
guys
Jimmy
are
said,
tense.
well, it was that last game. And I didn't want to. I wanted it better than a 2-2 record. You know, I got 2 wins, a loss, and a draw,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to go. I wanted to do better than I did last year, and I did. But I just didn't. I was definitely into that game because I did not want to give somebody a free win. You know, especially I was looking at the scores, and I was at that point. I was ahead in points for winning best faction, and I totally went. I wanted to win. I wanted to win like a little plaque or a trophy or something. So I was definitely like keyed in.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that one game, to be fair, I actually was okay with losing because I lost with a good amount of points. So it still puts you in like a mid tier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually where your funner games happen. Because I've actually won the first game. First year in LVO, I won my first game. And then the second game, I was like, oh boy, this is a way different level. You know what I mean? Like than I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
I've started getting building more competitive lists for champions because I always brought like anti-meta stuff. Like so last year I brought 190 or 120 poxwalkers, and it was a lot.
Oh my god!
And I basically took them and when I was deploying them, I put them in a pile, and I was like, all right, I'm going to deploy here. This is where I'm going. You go do your thing, and I'd set them all up, and then when I'd move, I would pick them up and be like, blip, like it was just moving chunks.
Did you have were your turns or your games 4 hours long?
They were not 4 hours long. They were only 2 hours long, and I did manage to always make it to like the fifth round. Not always the sixth to finish, but because when you're making a pile of Poxwalker saves with rerolling 5-up Film of Pains, rerolling ones, and God forbid I'm in some kind of cover, so I get a 6-up save, then a 5-up Film of Pain, rerolling ones. So lots of rolling.
Rolling.
Before we get into the Age of Sigmar championship that Ski can fill us in on, I wanted to jump in. We have I had a couple rumors pop up over the weekend. Well, before the weekend, but I just wanted to get passed on to people. Everybody saw hopefully the new, was it Shadow Spear book that's coming out, or not book, box set in March with Chaos and Vanguard or Primaris Marines.
Mm-hmm.
My guy said the one word, he said skimmer. So I don't know if that meant there's a Primaris skimmer coming, like a skimmer transport, like was a rumor I heard, very similar to the Scout bus, the was it Landspeeder Storm, but one for like a 5-man Primaris squad, or those Primaris Marines on like some sort of jet bike. So I think we haven't seen everything that's coming out for that box set yet. And the other thing he had said was, I might get the wrong name. Is it Free Guild?
Free people?
Free People. Thank you. He had mentioned something about dispossessed. No, something about the dwarf. Some of the dwarves that are, I don't know, dispossessed or
it's dispossessed or dispossessed. I can't even say it, but yes, the dwarfs. Just go through.
Okay, them and the people like the regular people, not the big Sigmarines, whatever they're called. I can't think of the name. I'm sorry, my mind is going blank. Anyways, something about them sometime this year. I didn't know what that meant, and he wouldn't go on any more than that.
So what he's basically saying that the free people and the dispossessed dwarfs, there it is, are going to have 3 newer rules soon.
I'm getting that. That's the impression I got. I'm pretty sure he said free guilds.
There's free people.
Are free people? Okay, it's okay. I'll go with you. You know what you're talking about.
Because you got Bretonian, there's free people, there's high elves, wood elves. So
I don't know if that means it's a book. It's reboxing the miniatures and giving them like a big. I don't know. I don't know what that means. It could be in the general's handbook for all I know.
Well, we already have messed up rules in the general's handbook for dispossessed, and that's why they're really bad, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that would be nice because there's a lot other stuff coming for Age of Sigmar after the weekend that we were there for.
Yes. So between that and that new box set that's coming out, the next few months are going to be pretty exciting for releases. I imagine Ski and I are going to be getting lots of little sneak peeks or leaks from our sources. So just let everybody know that one. Sorry to interrupt the LVO talk.
No, there's a little intermission to tell about your.
We didn't get no signal.
Well, before we do the Age of Sigmar, I got one more thing to ask.
We're never doing Age of Sigmar.
That's right. I'm working on my own segment, so it's all good.
I'm trying to stall it. I didn't get a chance because I was obviously playing up in the good morning, Leon. I was up in the friendly tournament. But did you guys get a chance to watch any of the top 8 games? And that's something I'd like to talk about after Ski regales us with his Age of Sigmar championship.
I didn't watch any. I was too busy running around with cameras stuck in my eye sockets.
Yeah, there was a lot of like people playing, so I actually didn't know which one were the top 8. I was walking around actually. Let me regale you on my tale. So
Okay.
So after playing Friday and Saturday, right?
Right.
Had a ton of games. I, waking up early, going to bed at okay times. I was editing videos at night and stuff, so I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. But on Sunday, I slept in. I woke up and everybody was out of the room. So I decided to take a bath. My jacuzzi tub bath.
Right.
And so I relax and I watch the show. I was like, all right, it's time to get ready. I get ready, grab all my stuff, head downstairs. And then, man, Ski's getting angsty to talk about his AOS stuff. And so, so I go downstairs and then I pass through Paris and I'm like, I'm going to have the Paris brunch. And so I had the Paris brunch. And I had a big day of treat yourself. Then I went to the tournament. So that's actually when I went upstairs with you guys and I saw what you guys were doing. And then I went back downstairs to see what everybody else is doing. And I'm actually just going to keep stalling because Steve can't wait to talk about AOS.
I mean, we need to have like a third person like narrating your storytelling of day by day, play by play, hour by hour.
All right, Ski.
Jonathan enters Paris. As I enter through Paris.
Man. Well,
continue.
Besides talking about the LVO championship near the end, we can talk about our predictions, and a couple of our predictions did come true. But let's for 40K. Let's talk to Ski. Take it away.
Where am I? Oh, I gotta take it somewhere. And so I mean, I don't know how many people in the chat are for AOS, but the championships was pretty crazy. First off, I want to give a shout out to James West. He's our local Houston. He played Ever Chosen, Archeon with 4 units of the Vanguard and a War Shrine, and he did amazing. He didn't make the championship, but he did get in the bracket for the highest painted army. I don't know what part of how they decide whatever. You had to get 30 points and above to get judged, I guess. So he got 30 points. He lost 2 games. He did really well with that Everchosen, and in the end, he was third best general overall for the championship. So that's amazing. And I got this Sigmarine copper like arm hammer looking thing trophy. But it's crazy because the top 5 lists or factions, I should say, kind of the first 4 are not very surprising, but the army that got first was completely amazing because of some things. But in the top 5, 4th or 5th, let me see, make sure I get the right one here. Yep. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me a second because I think I got a different bracket up. Okay, here we go. So you had Stormcast Eternals with 5th, Legion of Sacrament 4th, Grand Host Nagash 3rd, Idith Deepkin was 2nd, and his list was crazy. Like, I'll talk about the top 2 because I thought they're great. And the person that won it was playing Flesh Eater Corpse before the new book comes out. And his list basically came down to he basically summoned enough points to outdo you, and just like big guy summon this guy, and it was just, and we talked to him, and a couple guys talked to him. He dodged a little bit through the tournament and missed out some of the armies that he might have had a very hard time with. So he went undefeated, which I have another segment about that kind of way in the tournament, because that's just something questionable. But the guy that he played against, he played already once in the championship, so for the first place. So it was kind of, I already know what was coming. But the Deepkin list really threw me out. I mean, it was the Eels list, but it was more Eels than I ever seen with allies. He took a total of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 the guard Eels, Morsari guard, and then he took another 9 of the other Eels. He took a Spellweaver and a Drika from Sylvaneth, and then the Voltarnus High King. That was his list, and he was basically just smashing. Oh, and the spell Malevolent Maelstrom. But he was just smashing through people with the Eels. Like, that's just get the charge off, re-rolls, all kinds of nifty stuff. So that list was, I wasn't expecting that many Eels. There was 3 Ida Deep Kipped armies that I was kind of tracking, and the one he placed 6th, the other Ida Deep Kipped, and he was on the opposite side. He did Thralls, 1 unit of guard, Echelon guard, 12 of the Masorian guard, but it was a calmer list. But he had allies. He had Eternal Guard, and he had Heartrenders as allies, which was really crazy. Some of the old faction armies. But the number 1 list was Flesh Eater Court, and it blew everybody away. Everybody was just like, how? Because there's other armies out there. I saw some pretty armies, Skaven armies, like Sylvaneth. I mean, all of them. They're all out there. So, and it was cool. Everybody was great. Like, in that whole tournament, the whole atmosphere, even in the team tournament, me and John the Viking, he played in. It was great because we had so much fun, and most of the people who played the team tournament were people that were already playing the championships, and so there was a lot of very competitive lists for the team tournament, and ours was not so competitive, and we still did decently. The first game we played against Plague Monks on one side, and Nurgle basically, and he was playing against Zeech. And turn 1, I bull rushed my Maw Crusher into the Skaven Vermin Lord, his general, and deleted him like that. It was just done. Then I ended up wiping out like 30-something Plague Monks and some Mortal Nurgle dudes, almost 2 squads of them. It was crazy, but we ended up losing. We got 3 points and we lost. we played against. So this is how cool the team tournament is 2 people didn't have teammates. And so they're just like, hey, you want to play? And the other guy's like, yeah. And they end up playing, and their armies out of nowhere were so synergistic. And they were just, they annihilated us the second game. We still got 3 points, but we just got annihilated. There was nothing we could do. And then the last game we got to play on that CMAT because of John's Pirate Ogres against an Iron Jaw and Corn Army. Really worked really well together. And the guy was just rolling phenomenal with one of the Corn Demons. Got 3 points, but yeah. But there was a lot I learned for Warzone. Talked to a lot of people, met a lot of good people. Amazing, beautiful armies out there. All of them way above par. You know, a lot of people, you were talking about earlier, how people like just throw 3 colors on it, and you're like, oh, it's done, you know, and you're like I'm playing against this, doesn't even look good, and you know what I mean. So, majority of all the AOS armies were way above tabletop, easily. Even mine were. I think everybody loved the dragon, but they didn't really say nothing much about the ogres or orcs, so it's okay. But the top guy that won, you know, he like scooted around, you know, the pairings, and he got lucky, like in the pairing aspect and with the missions. And so I don't know. I think there's got to be a way to tweak that more in the future. Sometimes someone can figure something out where you're playing, it's like a challenge. Like you don't just skeet through and you're like, oh, I got lucky and I won the grand tournament because I played every army that I'm good against, you know? So, but it was amazing. Yeah, a lot of people, I think it was like 100 and, what was it, 130 or 160 or something like that. So, I mean, that's mostly what I got. I mean, it was just great just seeing all the armies there. There's a lot.
Looked like it was fun.
Just looking through them, the ones that they posted. I mean, there was 3 different Beast of Chaos armies. Again, they're all. And that was cool. Most of the armies, majority, were different types of that faction. It wasn't the same army over. Some factions you can't really tweak, like Iron Jaws, because it's the same different units, just the mount is different. Stormcast Eternals, you're always gonna, there's like 3 different variations you're always gonna see majority of the time. Blades of Corn the same way. So there's those types of army you're gonna see very good similarities, and like, oh, but there's other things people add to make it their own. So, which is really cool, because when I went to see the championship, you know how many times I walked around with my camera. I'm like, oh, I see that. That's a beautiful army. That's a cool concept. And I walked down to another aisle. I'm like, hey, didn't I just see that army? And I walked some more. Man, I'm having like Twilight Zone effect. And that gets really boring. I don't know.
You mean deja vu?
Oh, but it was great. We had a lot of cool releases coming for Age of Sigmar. I mean, you guys probably hopefully seen them, the videos, because it was Saturday that Friday, right?
Thursday.
God, that whole week. Oh.
I know, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, there's a lot of armies coming. Of course, we know it's, you got Khorne is coming, and Skaven's coming, and the new Flesh Eater Court's coming. There's going to be, looks like a Fire Slayer, Kingdoms of the Ogre Kingdom, Vampire Count. And I'm just going off the top of what I can remember picture-wise. I think Stormcast, again, is going to get another one. And then there might be one other besides the free people with the Dispossessed, which that gets me excited because I have a Dispossessed army. Yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't record a lot of the games because I was running around recording everybody else. So I know there were some guys recording us while we were playing on the team tournament, but met a lot of cool people. So
yeah, that's one of the best parts is getting to see everybody there, getting to meet everybody. I got to go on the media panel, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, how did that go?
It went well. There's a lot of people just asked questions, and kind of went down the line.
I know you.
Like a fire.
No weird questions or answers or anything. It's okay. You don't have to say.
I have the evidence on my phone, and I just watched it.
You'll have to watch it. We're gonna be posting it up on YouTube, and you'll
it makes me like get quiet every time he gets to the certain point. I'm like, I suck in. Like, did he just say that?
Dude,
everybody.
I can't believe I said it, and like when I left my mouth, I was like, please come back.
And I think Jeff next to you, his facial, like you can't wait till you're gonna see that, and you're gonna be like, oh no.
Yeah, everybody. When we get the video posted up, definitely watch the video. It's gonna be funny. Make sure you like it. Put a thumbs up. It's gonna be good.
It was a poor choice of words.
But I got a disclaimer though. That video, I only got the first 25 minutes of it because my phone died. So it's going to be more like we got to experience the whole thing. And unfortunately, it's like a teaser for everybody to maybe come join us next year at LVO type. So.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you can listen to the podcast live after a cover save, and they have the whole recording on there. So it's their podcast show. You can hear it on there, and I mean, my part's going to be recorded. You know, I didn't get a chuckle. I thought I would have got a laugh. Like I was like after it happened, and like no one said anything. It was more like the okay. Let's continue. I was like, oh, I said the wrong thing, and it wasn't even remotely funny.
Oh man. So talking about the top list there for Age of Sigmar, I'm gonna get all the top 4 list for Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40,000 championships, and get them up on the Facebook page tomorrow. That way, people, I know you can probably find it online, but I'm just going to compile the list and get them up on there so you could have an easier time trying to find the list for anybody that was looking for them.
And you want to post the top 8?
Well, real quick, Leon, with all that undead you have, if you can get the app, find what they are, make a digital list on Facebook and send it to FNP Wargamers in a message or post it on the page. I will take that list and I'll figure out what you got and what you need, and give you hands if you need it. So it's there if you need it. Just let me know.
That's service.
Yeah, that's awesome. I should point out that I was wrong earlier. It was Nick. How do you say his last name?
Navante.
Nick Navante.
Nick Navante. He wasn't beat by an Asher Miltarm flyer list. Somebody else got beat by that, but what he got beat by was an Eldar flyer list.
And I got a little bit more, one more leak per se that I just saw. So that new game that's coming out, the one they teased, was at Warcry, and it's supposed to be what Kill Team and Kill Team. What's that?
No, go ahead.
I was Kill Team and something together, and everybody was like, "Oh, you know," I forgot what it was like a matchup of the two games that are out, and so I was just confirmed per se. We'll take it with a grain of salt. Actually, we'll put it that way because it's not from GW itself, but it looks like it's going to be a fantasy kill team warbands of 40 to 20 models, rules for narrative campaign, matched and opened, and is set in the 8 points series of the realm gates to all different realms, some controlled by good guys, some by Archeons. So you're going to be running around there, all being fought over by the various sides. This is cool saying because it all allows boards from different realms to be combined, justified by huge realm gate wars and stuff like that. Factions are not limited to just chaos and the amount of available factions. Pretty much everything available in iOS seems to differ from Kill Team in two major ways. The first being that commanders are part of the core rules, not an expansion, and every force is built around and must contain one hero, no more, no less, with the narrative of the game being built around the retinues of mighty champions and psychic power / magic. Not being in the core game, with no warband options for wizards or any other models able to cast spells except the first main expansion. But the best part is you got Khorne, Nurgle, Zeech, Slaanesh, Slaves of Darkness, marked troops for Zeech and stuff like that. But I don't think there's going to be no Zeech because there's no the magic aspect right now. Beasts of Chaos and Skaven, and then you got Stormcast, Fire Slayers, the Pirate Conundrum Dwarfs, Dispossessed Dwarf, Free People, Seraphim, Daughters of Cain, Deepkin, Sylvaneth, Wanderers, Exiles of Highborn. And there might be some Dark Elves and High Elves. Legion of Nagash, Nighthawk, Gloomspite Gits, Ironjaws, Gutbusters, Bone Splitters. And the starter set is apparently different from Kill Team in that it contains all new models. So that's going to be interesting. With Dark Oath Warband led by a Vanguard on foot taking on Stormcast. So this sounds really exciting. A lot of if it's new models, it's going to be great. And if it's going to be a Kill Team Age of Sigmar, it's going to be amazing.
That's awesome.
The named characters usually in Age of Sigmar are very expensive in points, so there won't be, you won't see like Gordrak or Archeon or Dryka or freaking some of these. Most of the named characters are way overpriced, so you'll see just heroes. Yeah, so.
So what was your ITC ranking? Do you guys have that?
No, I don't want to know. Because I only had a few games. Oh, I think mine's like 1,300 or something like that.
Oh no, I meant on the actual for the game itself, because like there's 661 players.
Oh,
there was more than 661 players, but I ranked 221.
Not bad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So not amazing.
Couple. What's that?
I said it's not amazing, but a lot higher than I got last year.
Well, a couple of our locals got really high too. I can't remember the number, but Colin McDade and Christopher Arrington were up in. I want to say they're up in the double digits, around like 50th place or something like that. Colin McDade he got the best faction award for the ITC season. Whatever that for the ITC season for Adeptus Custodes.
Yep.
He was third place going into the event, and the event helped launch him above the top two guys.
Yeah, he went 5-1. He was 54.
54th, okay. And then I think Christopher Arrington was maybe 52nd, 52, 53. 48. So good showing there, Houston guys. And then we had people like David Savage, and I think Mike Delta was in the hundreds. So same with Colin Coons. I was really, really happy and proud of the Houston team. Did a really good job.
I agree. I'm pretty excited because I think overall we had a pretty strong showing. Because they still had 5 wins and 1 loss. You know what I mean? So like that's just saying something. The people above them, most of them are all wins. Let me see.
Well, and I'll tell you this. The fact that Christopher Arrington got up that high with an army he barely got to play test, because he's got basically two brand new babies, and he's got a job and everything. He doesn't have a lot of time to play. The fact that he got up there so high is a really credit to his skill. And same thing with Colin. I mean, an amazing player, and he's come a long way since I met him. Oh, I want to say around 2011. Come a long way as a player and a painter. So.
Bless me.
Bless you.
Did you bless yourself?
Always.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I was really happy, and that we did so well. I mean, heck, Matt Ali, he's from Texas, I believe. He got up there really high. A lot of people actually got up there. Nick Gower from San Antonio. Man, Texas did a really good showing this year. I was really proud of them.
Well, I mean, I think we covered everything for LVO for the most part. You know, we did have a lot of fun, of course. We had, you know, with all the interviews and everything that we had, ran into a lot of people like Phil from the Glacial Geek. You know, I didn't actually see the 40K couple this go. TJ said he saw them and they were there. I just didn't see them.
But is it the 40K? Is she tall?
I mean, she's a skinny blonde girl. She was like a sore thumb.
We were getting ready to interview creature casters. They came up and they were live streaming on Twitch. So they actually interviewed us.
Oh, nice.
Creature caster, and then once they left, we ended up doing our interview. So yes, they were there.
Oh, okay. Well,
I forgot what she looked like until yeah. So,
well, when we made our predictions last week, was it? I think. I think the only thing we got wrong with the predictions, we thought orcs would have about 2 lists in the top 20 or top 8, but didn't.
Yep.
But we were right about 4 lists with Castellans and 2 Yanari lists. That was well, not Yanari. I think we said 1 Yanari and 1 regular Eldar list, but actually there is 3, and we said a chaos. Excuse me, chaos list. There was 1 Josh Death, and a Tau list slipped in. It's really weird, but even when I look at these lists with the Castellans, you know, I think a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the Castellans are OP, they're game breakers." But as I look at these lists, the Castellans are not the ones that are doing a lot of the work in the list, especially the top list by Michael Snyder. He's got looks like it's Catachan, I think. Oh no, the Emperor's Wrath Artillery.
Yep.
Then he's got Adeptus Custodes, and then a Knight Castellan. But it's the rest of that army that he had. That's what did a lot of the work. That Castellan couldn't have done all of that. I still didn't get a chance to watch the video yet. I know it's out there. I'm gonna try to watch it, but yeah, 3 of the top lists did have Castellans in them. And the one list that we had thought was going to be top list tied for second. The list with Admech, Guard with a whole bunch of Bullgruns, and then the Castellan. So
George said Eldar, Dark Eldar Flyer Army got second.
let me see. I'm on it. So you got the
yeah. That's the list.
One of the Brits' friends.
Yeah, he's the guy that beat Nick Navanti. He's that's the list. And I have a feeling we're going to see a very similar list in the future with flyers, especially with lists like the close combat orc list that's out there, and of course Gene Stealer cults.
Well, and the big thing too, you know, and I always just like to bring this up to think that so people with a net list put something in perspective. You got to see who these guys played. and see the list that they played, and then look at what they didn't play, and actually you'll see a balance, or you'll see a theme where he might have missed something. But that's why, because they don't get to play every different type of army. You got to remember that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, this list is going to win it all. I'm going to copy the top list and it's going to win. I'm like, it'll win for the type of armies he played that we know.
Yeah. Well, and piggybacking off of that, these guys, they know these lists. They don't just go in cold and just play the list like, oh, I'll see how I do it. Oh, look, I got in the top 8. These are guys that bust their ass with this list, play game after game after game, not just against their buddy that they know they're going to beat every time because their buddy plays like a casual list, but against real competitors. And they take the time to understand all the other armies, not just theirs.
Yep.
And that's what separates them from everyone else.
The girls from the boys. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, and that's the same with Age of Sigmar. I'm gonna agree 110%. I know I still forget stuff from my Iron Jaws, but I know my Iron Jaws. I know exactly what I need to do, how I need to do it, how I need to build it, and I do very well. As long as I roll good, I do very well with that army, even if it's not competitive army. I'll never make it to top 10. I got close, but it won't happen until we get it redone. But at the same time, I've got a Deepkin army that I've tried, and I'm having problems. But a guy at LVO was running the list that I wanted to run that I already bought before I even knew about it. And he gave me an insight and says, hey, this is how it works. You need to try this and work it on and he gave me some insights. I had no clue. And I'm going to start working on that. But then I think, Jonathan, we see like a Custodes army that was very devastating, but the player was very new.
Yeah, that was TJ.
Oh, yep. And it's very unfortunate
because we were looking at the list and we were like, how's this guy losing? The list was pretty elite list.
Yeah.
But then it came down to the player made a lot of mistakes. TJ, went back and helped him, like, hey, this is some of your mistakes you did and things like that. So.
Oh, yeah. So.
Well, we saw a lot of that, even up in the friendly. There's a couple people that have never played their list. I could hear them chit-chatting, and I mean, they were losing with some fantastic lists that should not have been losing against the opponents they were up against. And that comes back to what we were saying, is that you need to know your list. You need to know how the other armies play. You don't have to maybe know how every single enemy unit plays, but you need to know how they kind of operate in a tournament format, so you know how to counter these things.
Yeah, of course. And
I think
it's also knowing the other lists. I mean, you can't just, here's my good list I found on the internet, I'm going to win.
Yeah. Well, and it helps when I guarantee you talk to these top players, they play the scenario. They play the scenario to the strength of their list. The secondary concern for them is what his opponent is doing, but their number one concern is what their army needs to do to maximize all their secondary and primary objectives. And then they start worrying about what the opponent will do. And I think a lot of people forget to do that when they're grabbing these net lists. There's a couple gentlemen here in Houston. I've talked about them before, not by name, but they play the flavor of the month, and they get upset when it doesn't work, and they get a brand new army. And we tell them, just play the army, just stick with one army, knock it out, learn it, live it, breathe it, whatever, sleep with it under your pillow. I don't care, but get intimate with that army like all these top players, and you'll start performing better in the games.
Yep.
Right. Yes, I'm crazy, guys. I'm painting. I know you guys are all burnt out, and I'm come back and I'm freaking painting, and you guys are probably like, man, stop painting. I can't even stand watching it,
Dude, all my whole couch I had painting stuff everywhere is empty. I am pooped from it was like 2 weeks of just hardcore straight painting.
Mhm.
I even painted in the room. I came back. I had to finish up my board. I had to wait for some of the scenic mud to dry, and then I had to dry brush the mud just for the board. And I'm literally in there quietly doing this while Clint and Jimmy are in the room sleeping. TJ's in the room sleeping with his door open. I'm just in there dry brushing away, trying to be quiet. Had like a paper towel in hand, just in hand, and no water because it was just like, all right, it's a crappy brush. We're just dry brushing up each color. It's all right. Here we go. We'll go up some more colors. Like I just try brush it in the middle of the room.
Did you even find out what your score was for your painting?
No, I don't know how to find that. Little bummed because I spent a lot of time on it. I was hoping to at least get featured on the game
But
that GW was streaming.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that came up and loved your board.
Oh, I know. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. And apparently it was all over the internet. And so a lot of people complimented it. And I actually took a picture of everybody taking pictures of the board because there were so many people. There was 2 people up top, a person here, and like a dude underneath, like another guy from the side. I was like, neat, click.
Well, and I think out of the team, yours and John's, the Vikings were the 2 armies that were probably the most showcased. I mean, I don't know about Mr. Owens. I don't know if anybody really came up and looked at your army or in the friendly or not. But from personal experience, being around him and seeing everybody flock to his board and seeing on the Viking flock to his freaking amazing pirate ogre army. So.
Yeah, I had a few comments and pictures, but I didn't have like that level. I did answer a lot of questions about how I got the copper effect, which I was really happy for because that was a happy accident and all. But I didn't have that level of that Jonathan did, which is freaking awesome. That makes me happy because that shows that that helps get FNP on the map a little bit more. And now I've got to up my game for next year.
Oh, I'm with you. So the funny part is like, I'm playing next to John's army. I knew this was going to happen in the beginning. Like I already knew it. And I'm like, yeah, we're playing. And people are like, oh my God, look at those ogres. Look at that crab. I mean, the spider or the crab. And then they see my red dragon. That's a beautiful red dragon, man. Very well done. And off they went. I'm like, well, at least got one model.
Yeah. I'm working on what I want to do next year. I've got a whole bunch of ideas, and I'm really scatterbrained right now. It's driving me crazy. I know the color scheme, but now I don't even want to do that. I'm going to just take the rest of the month off, and then next month, when after that the shadow, whatever comes out, then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. But
I know John the Vikings project for next year, and if he does it perfect. I don't think any of us can compete. I mean, of course, it's Age of Sigmar, so we have our own 2 categories. But as an overall, I think if he does it, I think he'll take it. Like he'll take the overall. Like he has a great concept for it, at least for the FNP team. Yeah.
Well, Jonathan set the bar this year, and it really upset me. So
thanks, man. I spent a lot of time on that thing. I appreciate it.
You did a good.
I'm happy because I get some of the cred. Not a lot. I get some because I would like, hey, that thing sucks, or hey, you need to fix that. And he's like, and everybody's like, I love it.
Well, it was the one thing that had the squiggle, and he ended up becoming my warlord because it was just so over the top. But I had like a little spooky ghost thing coming out of the cockpit, and then Ski's like, I like everything, but this one thing here, it needs a little more. I was like, it needs a little more, huh? And so then I put a big ass freaking coming out of the ground cathedral thing on the top of his shoulders.
And everybody loved it though. Like everybody's like, wow. And I mean, there was a couple kids, I don't know if you noticed, that were looking through underneath the castle to see if there was anything else in there.
Nice.
That's cool. Well, I did. I put on the other side, if you went to the back, it was the mausoleums, and if you look even past the mausoleums, there's even more grave, like a whole gravestone area that's from the the Age of Sigmar Sigmarite graveyard or whatever. So there's more stuff. If you look in the crevice, there was a gravestone that was in the crevice of it. There's just a few little Easter eggs if you look around.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm not procrastinating this for next year's LVO. I'm really going to start planning after I have a few weeks of rest, and I'm not going to wait until 3 weeks prior to build and paint an army. I'm going to start probably, I'd say about 2 weeks from now. After seeing all those armies, seeing your army and your display board, I've got to figure out something to beat you.
Well, you got to remember though, I was modeling it since June.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh, I knew that.
To get everything magnetized and to get everything to fit right, like the heads were not meant for that, and I had to make them fit right. I had to make them fit on the face mask. So there was a lot of shaving, and how to make it where it was perfect, where the seams weren't terrible. So a lot of stuff went into that dang army. But I like it, and I had fun, and I'm glad it's done. Actually, really glad it's done.
Oh man,
Just checking the chat out here. I didn't realize Leon is #2 with Warhammer Fantasy Battle there in South Africa, 2010. But got ourselves a top player here.
Oh man.
Yeah. Hey, Leon, when are you coming up to? Aren't you coming to Dallas or Houston or something in the near future? Oh, while he's waiting to reply at that, man, there's a lot of chatter about Age of Sigmar.
It's good. It's popping.
Yeah, it like somebody said, it's in a very good place right now.
And the biggest thing I heard, because I'm running the GT and I wanted to get everybody's opinion and just aspects. And when the number one thing I heard, it's not convoluted right now. I mean, once you get into like realm rules, it gets a little more you have to pay attention to, but there's not a lot you have to worry about. It's quicker. There's not a lot of slowdowns. There's not a lot of like extra work. So a lot of people are loving it. And I think, let's see here. There's something I saw, and I got to find this.
It looks like Leon will be here in November, December. So I think we have to road trip it, guys.
Nice.
Well, since I know we're going to be winding down soon, one more plug for Zone Raiders. I guess it's probably backwards, isn't it? Check out the Kickstarter, guys. You're really going to like this game. Watch the gameplay videos. It's really awesome. The fact that you get to use all your miniatures, whether you're 40K, Age of Sigmar, Infinity, doesn't matter. You can grab whatever you want and play this game. Join the Kickstarter so we can get some more unlocks, so we can get some more freebies, because I like freebies.
Just so you guys know, on the Games Workshop webpage, Destruction Greenskids are no longer on here. Thereh no greenskin models.
Interesting.
I gotta find get starter box on here if it's on here. Let's see. Where do they put it? Because that's kind of odd. Let's see here. I'm going through all the destruction. This is kind of could be a sign. Either they're getting rid of them or they're redoing them.
Well, usually when they pull boxes, when you start seeing that stuff.
It's the whole faction, not even the box.
Well, I meant like they'll redo all the boxes for the faction.
Well, yes, but yeah, they're all gone. There's nothing, not even to get starter boxes on here. Oh, okay. Well, that's something I'm gonna have to keep my eye on. All right. What else we got?
Well, that's really it. I mean, people have probably already watched the highlights, watched all the lists. There's not a lot we can tell them about the championships that they haven't already seen or read about. Um, some people have said, "Oh, there's gonna be a whole bunch of nerfs and stuff coming." We really don't know. We'll see what metrics they use to analyze all that and figure it out. I suspect there will be some stuff coming soon. Gene Stealer Cult, you guys are probably going to get some FAQs, not a nerf, but FAQs to clean up some of the stuff in the codex in the next 2 weeks. And then sometime in March, the big FAQ is coming, which I think that's where we're going to see a lot of nerfs. Castellan might go up in points. Some people are saying, "Oh, it needs to go up 150 points or something." I don't see that happening. I mean, but changes are coming, guys.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see these next two codexes or battle tomes. I should say. Sorry, I'm gonna get my terminology right. Battle tomes from one of the two original, new older armies that they've going to be redoing as a whole again. And these two armies, the Skaven people are happy right now. All the Skaven people are freaking happy. They've lost a little bit of stuff, but they gained a lot too at the same time. And the Flesh Eater Court just looks amazing. Like again, championship guy wins it with Flesh Eater Court pre-book. I can't even imagine how bad it's going to be now with the book. How much worse it's going to get.
Yeah. Oh, we'll probably see a spike at the store of people buying Flesh Eater Courts, and then Guard and Castellans. Yeah, I suspect we're going to see those flying off the shelf.
Oh, something I got checked out today. What do you think about the new rumored demon engine?
That's pretty cool. That was very amusing. Tickled my fancy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's cool that they're changing things up like that. That just shows that whatever's coming in the next few weeks is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Chaos Space Marines and the new Corn book or something coming.
For Age of Sigmar.
Yeah,
the Blades of Corn. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's some really amazing stuff coming in the next few weeks that's going to just blow people's minds.
Yeah, and the Blades of so the Corn Army and the Stormcast Army are usually always getting a book every year because that's their two go-to armies. And if you haven't checked out the endless spells for Corn, you could use those for both games, and they are freaking amazing. Like I can just see a Renegade Knight with the skull with the blood dripping out the eye sockets. Like that's his face. Like stuff like that. The new demon, what's his name? Not new. He's I think he's a remodel, maybe. Bloodletter character, I think. What's his name?
Oh, that's Skull Taker.
Yeah, the small one, right? The small guy.
Yeah,
I think that's him, the new model.
Yeah, that's the new Skull Taker model.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty. People are pretty happy about that.
And then the most exciting, a lot of things people are excited about too, the convention for Underworld, Night Vault, is the Sylvaneth armies coming out.
Dude.
And they've got a little bit of everything. They've got an archer, they've got a two-handed sword guy, a big axe guy, and a caster. So they get it's cover all three basically, or maybe all four: offensive, defensive, range, and magic. So, and then that freaking I'm not big on the Primaris, but that Primaris librarian is probably one of my favorite models right now.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be another. It looks like there's going to be also. Oh, that was the other tidbit I had about that. There's supposedly going to be two characters, Primaris characters in that box. So probably not another lieutenant. We know where the lieutenant's going to be. If you watch the preview, he's going to be
that sergeant. Isn't like the new Catachan sergeant?
No, no. I was talking about the new Space Marine lieutenant, Primaris lieutenant.
Yeah, isn't it the leak is it's actually a Catachan sergeant with the power fist?
Oh, is it?
That's what I thought.
Oh no, I was talking about the one under Abaddon's boot.
Oh, that guy. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much every year since the Primaris came out, there's been like 3 lieutenant models, or no, sorry, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 lieutenant models, and so we're like, and we even talked about it. It was like, man, there's gonna be another lieutenant model. Sure enough, there was, but it's under his boot, so I'm actually happy about that. But I think it's gonna be another captain, a Vanguard captain. There's gonna be the Vanguard librarian, the Vanguard snipers, and then my bet is that there's some sort of bikes or a skimmer.
And then on the chaos side, you'll get the character, you'll get the chaos marines, you'll get the obliterators, which are really interesting because they look exactly the same model as the Skaven from Age of Sigmar. And then you have the Black Widow bug looking thing. And then I believe there'll be some new possessed models as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll go, and of course we'll have Abaddon. Looks like he's right around the corner. So
I don't think he'll be in that box set.
No.
Which would be surprising. Well, I guess not. I mean, if they wanted to sell those boxes, they would put Abaddon in there. But the fact that they're going to have all those other cooler models like those the obliterators, those boxes are going to sell pretty fast. People are going to be splitting those down the middle.
The Black Widow mechanical demon.
It's behind her.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Behind her.
It looks like Necron technology.
Yeah. No, those obliterators look like they've been like chugging protein shakes, man. Just like not even like mixing it. They're just like dumping the powder in their mouth and roiding up.
What is that?
So, well, that's all I have for leaks and rumors.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, so for Age of Sigmar, I pulled up the picture. You've got Fire Slayers, it looks like, Stormcast, Vampires, and I don't know what's behind them. Then the Chaos side, we know Slanesh is coming. But I think this picture is more Slaves of Darkness. So, and then you'll have the Gits, which they just came out with. So the goblins, and that's the back picture, and the front of it is the Ogre Kingdom. So, and of course, Khorne.
Awesome.
All right, gents. It is about that time. It's getting late.
I've been up for a long time.
Yeah. I'm very tired.
Because I flew in today.
Nice.
And
TJ is supposed to join us, but I know for a fact he fell asleep. So, because he was very tired at work. We went to work today.
So did I.
Oh, please. I want your job.
I'll trade you.
Oh, man. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Everyone who came to see us and greet us and participated as well. It was great to see you guys. Our Patreon supporters, thank you guys so much. We're looking actually soon to be able to get some lapel mics. So that is on the frontier to up our game a little bit. And then if you guys haven't, the Patreon guys support us. Go over to the Patreon, FNP Wargamers. And we got some cool little setups and stuff. You actually, one of them, we have a messenger chat that we're usually in that you can just communicate with us pretty much all the time. That we use as pretty much our primary chat. So we just kind of add everybody in that. And, we've got some other cool stuff, dice, cups, shirts, all that stuff. As well as a live painting video with TJ.
And more of those coming. Yeah, more of those coming.
And I'm in hard work with the Age of Sigmar channel for the live feed as well. So, and it's going to be strategies. It's going to be people that are subject matter experts on armies, and we'll get some painters on her too.
The live is actually one of the perks is you get a sit down with TJ of whatever technique you would like to go over, and he will go over it with you one-on-one.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So, Anyway, you guys, and thank you guys, everyone who participated in the chat. There was tons of viewers. It was pretty much loaded up. So thank you guys so much. And everyone, Leon, stay safe. And everyone have a great night. Anything else, guys?
No. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everybody coming up and meeting us. It's kind of a surreal thing going, hey, I recognize you. Really awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
And my last thing, if you are questioning about going on a freaking trip to go to a convention, don't second guess it. I recommend you're highly to go, guys. So take the advantage, and thank you all for participating and being there for us.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.